Welcome everybody to my home video. There were a lot of requests out there for how do I finish my syrup. I've been boiling all day and I want to get a good finished product. I've been boiling for a while now, and I decided to put together all of the ideas that I've read about and experiments that I've tried, and I think I've got a pretty good system that works for me. So I'll show you around what I'm doing here. So we got in this pot, I have my bottles boiling away that I'm going to be finishing in. These are just bottles that standard syrup bottles. I boiled about 30 gallons of sap and expecting a little over a half a gallon of finished syrup. So this is the last of my 30 gallons down to, well, probably about a gallon here of almost syrup. So that's finishing up. This year I've always used thermometer to test when it's syrup and just never know if it's correct or not. So this year splurged and got a hydrometer and cup, and now I know exactly when it is time. So I'll be testing that as we go along here. Now for the filtering. This is what I got last year is a coffee urn. I think this is a 42 cup coffee urn. It's filled with water right now and turned on, so it's just keeping it hot. And for my filtering, I have 3 pre-filters. I can take this off here. I have 3 pre-filters and then an Orlon main filter. Just to keeping it hot, I'm keeping it on top of the coffee urn. And what I've read, and it seems to work good, is if you take the cone and you push it up, then you have all of this area for the syrup to run through instead of just the tip of the cone. So that's all set up, ready to go. And also to keep that tip up, I use a serving spoon, put it in the coffee urn, and then it keeps the cone of the filter pushed up so it doesn't collapse. And I use some clothespins just to pin the filter onto the side so it doesn't go in. The last little trick that I've learned this year, I like to get the filter wet before you run your syrup through. So to get as much water out of the syrup or out of the filter as possible, we had this salad spinner sitting in the cupboard, so I'll put the filters in there and run them in the salad spinner, and it gets rid of all the excess water. So that works really good. Happy with how that goes. And you don't have to wring. As we all know, you're not supposed to wring your filters because that ruins the fibers, but that uses centrifugal force to get rid of it. So we're all set. So the sap is boiling away. Probably have another 20 minutes or so to finish this off. Once that's done, we'll transfer it over into the filter. Just let it take its time filtering down, and we'll go over that when it's time. Great. So I'll be back when it's time to filter. Hey everybody, I'm back. Just wanted to show you how we can test to see if the syrup is ready using the hydrometer. So when I look at my candy thermometer here, I can see that the temperature is right around 220. So I would think that it's pretty close. So to test with the hydrometer, it's really simple. I just drop the cup into the syrup, pull it out as long as it's almost full. I want it coming out the top, and then just let it float. Now you can see it's floating at around under 30. So we need to get it all the way up. See that red line right there? We need that red line right at the surface. So with it down around 30, we still have a ways to go. So this is why it's really difficult to test, I find, to test with a thermometer, because it all depends. I know it depends on the pressure, but it also just seems that different syrup is ready at different temperatures, and I don't know, maybe that's totally false, but that's just been my experience. So anyway, now with this hydrometer, you always know exactly when it's syrup, and that takes a lot of the stress out. So I'll just keep testing away, and when it's syrup, then we'll be back and we'll show the filtering process. Okay, my syrup is just about ready to go. So I have just emptied the hot water out of my coffee urn and put my filter in. So I'll put my spoon in first and then my filter on top. And I can feel that spoon right there. Now I'll just take some paper clips here. Paper clips, clothespins, and pin off the filter just to make sure it's going good. Actually, I think what I'll do is rearrange this a little bit. Make sure I don't mess up my spoon. Alright, so we'll pin this here. Pin this here. Try to get as much of an opening as possible. Pin this here. And I'll get one more pin and pin that there. Okay, pin this here. Alright, so I've got it pretty well pinned off here. And I got that spoon inside, so I'm just making sure this is all down in there. I have a nice big area. Alright, so let's check our syrup. Should be right there, I think. See that red line? There's that red line. We are, I think we're right there. So, I'm just drain this off. I've worked really long and hard on this. I want to get every drop I can. Alright. Turn off the heat. Get my thermometer. So you can see the foam on it now. It's just super foamy. There's no more big bubbles. Okay, we are ready for pouring. So I'll get pot right off the stove. I find it's best as hot as possible. Get a little elevation here and start filtering. You can hear it going into the urn. Also, just to let you know, before I did this finish boil, I filtered it with pre-filters when I was drawing it off of the my outside evaporator. So it's already been filtered once. A lot of the sugar, big bits of sugar sand are gone. So now we wait. Now that there's some syrup in my coffee urn. I'll plug it in. You can see the light immediately turns on because the syrup is hot enough, but what it will do is it will keep that syrup hot in the urn. I tested it out. It's about 185. It keeps it at 185, 190, which is perfect for bottling. So now it's just filtering through. There's no rush. We'll just let it go. Actually, sometimes what I do, just to keep as much heat as possible, is I will put a cover over it, try to keep that heat inside, and we'll come back and start doing some bottling. Welcome back. Okay, we've been filtering for a while. So I have 3 pre-filters in here I mentioned before. The reason I do that is these pre-filters are taking up most of the sediments, so they get clogged up. So if you can see, I reached a point where it wasn't filtering anymore. So what I did was I took out the innermost pre-filter and just poured all the syrup that was in there into the next one. So now I have 2 more pre-filters, and if you see, most of the sap or syrup now has been filtered through. There's just a little bit left in the bottom. That's just going to work its way through. Love this stuff. Alright, so let's do some bottling. So I got my bottles been boiling away. Let me show you how nice it is to bottle in this coffee urn. So I'm just going to take the bottle out of the hot water. Get rid of all of as much water in there as possible. Okay. And this is the beautiful part of this. Towel here. Fits just perfect. Comes down through. Got perfect temperature. I put it a little bit above the fill line because as syrup cools, it will condense. And look how beautiful that syrup is. So I'll just take my cap. Put my cap on. Nice and tight. I'm going to take it, lay it on its side. Absolutely crystal clear, beautiful syrup. Ready to do the next one. Put my caps over here. So I'll just repeat this process and fill up my syrup bottles, and then I'll be done. That's it. That's how easy this is. I've gone through years and years of frustration, losing syrup, not getting it filtered clear, but this seems to work really well for me. I hope this is helpful. Shout out to my son Jack, who's running the camera. If you've got kids, have them check out Kizime on YouTube, the Kizime channel, K-I-Z-I-M-E. He's a big gamer and does a good job. Alright, thanks everybody. Bye.